Hey guys, what's up? It's Rygar the Destroyer, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Disney Store Exclusive Stormtrooper with Blaster Accessories figure from the Star Wars Black Series. Now, this is a pretty good figure, but before we take a closer look at it, let's go ahead and take a look at its packaging. So here it is. It's kind of an interesting package compared to the rest of the Black Series. Nice big window here on the front, and as you can see in the background, it's got some like Death Star or Star Destroyer paneling in the background, which looks cool. And then down here in the corner, it's got an image of the character. When you flip it over onto the back, it's got an image of the figure with the blast accessories, as well as that same image repeated again, as well as a brief description. And of course, if you'd like to read that, you can go ahead and just pause the video. So anyway, kind of an interesting package, but let's go ahead and get back to the figure itself here. Now, the Stormtrooper stands at, let's see, exactly 6 inches tall. So he's right in scale with all of your other Black Series figures, and really, it's the same, aside from the paintwork on it, is the same Stormtrooper figure that we've seen before. The real draw for this pack, in my opinion, is all of the accessories, and that's why it's listed, right on the front of the box there. So let's go ahead and get into those. We'll start off with the most bland one, and that is his blaster. It's the same one we've seen, a ton of times, but no paintwork, unfortunately, this time, especially with a figure with all the battle damage. Would have been nice to see some weathering done on this. However, it does fit into his holster here, perfectly fine. So, overall, it's a fine accessory. Up next is a blaster bolt, which you can kind of just sits on the front of the gun here. And as you can see, looks really cool. It is a translucent plastic. It's kind of been airbrushed. So at the tip, it's kind of almost black, and then as it goes back, it kind of transitions more to yellow, which is really cool, and kind of one of the reasons I wanted this pack. It looks really cool, I think, for dioramas and other displays. Up next, you've got this large blast effect. And I'll kind of put the ruler in frame so you can see it's about 3.5 inches, by about 3 inches. So it's got some good size on it. Maybe 2.5 inches tall, and it again is made from that same translucent plastic, again with the airbrush effects on there. Very nicely sculpted, and it does look really cool. And then there is a smaller one. As you can see, it's much smaller than this one here. Same kind of effects on them, really cool looking. One thing I've noticed is you can almost kind of put them together like this, and you sort of change up the shape and make it an even larger blast effect. It doesn't work perfectly, and I don't think it's intended for that, but it's definitely something you could do to add a little bit more variety to your displays again. And then finally, this is, I think, one of the most exciting parts, interestingly, is the base. It's got this kind of great pattern design on one side, and then if you flip it over, you can flip it over and have a Star Wars base on there. It's got 2 pegs, and then it's got these little clips so that you could, presumably if they released more of them, line them up in a big row and have like a kind of a linked together display. Now this is kind of the design that I hope they adopt, opposed to those clear bases that we've been getting with some of the other figures. I think this is just a much better design. I think it looks better. And I think it works much better. Obviously, having the peg holes means that, it 100% secures the figure onto the base. So hopefully, Hasbro picks, or decides to go with this base in the future moving forward, because I definitely like this one better. Now, as far as articulation on the figure goes, like I said, it's the same as all of the other Stormtroopers we've seen in the past. He's got a ball peg in the head with a hinge in the neck, which gives an excellent range of motion. He's got ball hinge shoulders, which are a little limited at the shoulder, or moving upward at the shoulder. They do swivel 360. He's got a bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, and then he's got hinges at the wrist with a swivel. And on this side, the hinge runs horizontally through the hand, and on this side, it runs vertically through the hand. And then at the waist, he's got what feels like a single ball peg. Really nice range of motion there, and of course it does swivel. He's got T-jointed hips with a pretty decent range of motion out to the side. Not the greatest forward, but what can you do? There's not much that Hasbro can do with the design of the armor there. There is a thigh swivel, which is very nicely hidden here, and then double jointed knees, excellent range of motion, and then hinged ankles with an ankle rocker. So overall, absolutely fantastic articulation, for the most part, and a ton of accessories. And honestly, the price at $24.99, or I think it's $24.95, is pretty decent. So I think that this is an excellent way to, get a Stormtrooper with a little bit of battle damage that's kind of different than what we've seen before, and get a ton of really cool accessories, which I think you could use with, tons of other, figures, and they don't even necessarily have to go with the Star Wars display. So definitely recommend picking this figure up. And if you have any comments or questions, please leave them down in the comment section below.